everyone. You should be able to see me now. So I'm Dr. Ysabel Gerrard. I'm actually the program leader for the BA in Digital Media and Society. We've got in the corner, she's not visible, but Jenny Scott, our marketing officer. If you have any questions at all throughout the webinar, if you just want to type them in the chat box, I'm just going to type a little something to say hi. Jenny will do the same. So you can ask us questions throughout the webinar, you can wait until the end, whatever works. And does anyone want to type a little bit about themselves in the beginning just to get it going, to say hi, that they're there and they can hear us, hopefully? Oh, Grace is typing. Must mean she can hear. Okay. Well, I'll let people type away. It would be great to know like where you're from. Grace from Melton Mowbray. Have I pronounced that right? I'm not sure, but it's so nice to see you all. Oh, a few more people are typing now. Okay, well, I'm going to crack on with the webinar while you're typing, telling us about yourself. So as I said, I'm actually the program leader. This year is the first year that the program has run. We've got some lovely, lovely students. They seem very, very happy, which is really great. But obviously we're really excited to recruit for next year, meet lots of new students. We're hoping to have around 25 people on the course next year, maybe a little bit more. So it would be really nice to see some of you at open days and things like that, just so you can see the university, chat to us, hear a bit more about what we do, because we're really excited to have people join us. So I'm going to talk until about 4:30, 4:45, something like that, and then we're going to have loads of time for questions if you want to ask them. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you'll study, so what kind of things you're going to study. I'll say a little bit more about who I am, about the university and the faculty, things like that. We're going to talk about how we teach and assess students on the course. I think that's quite important because I know that a lot of people don't like to do exams, some people don't like group work, some people don't like lots of different things. So I think it's really important that before you come, you have a really good overview of like what kinds of things you're going to do. And then I'm going to share something from our booklet. So this is kind of the promotional booklet. It tells you everything about the course that you need to know. You can email us, we can send one out to you, anything like that. And we've got some quotes in it from past students who've done the course and who've done some of the modules, kind of their opinion and what they think, because it's all well and good for me to say great things about the program, but you need to know that the people here are very happy. So as I said, I'm the program leader, and I teach currently on 3 modules. I actually lead these 3 modules. So I teach students about digital research methods, so kind of tools for figuring out what people are saying on social media and collecting data from like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, things like that. I teach people about digital identity, so that's actually a 3rd year module. It's about things like sexting and selfies, about how content gets moderated on social media, how people self-represent, things like that. I teach a lot of kind of gender and feminist theory as well in that module. And I haven't put it here, but I also teach on a module called Social Media and Data and Society, and that looks at what happens to your social media data, who it gets sold to, what the implications of that are for your privacy, things like surveillance. So yeah, some really exciting courses going on here. And I actually am a former intern at the Microsoft Research Center in New England in the USA. So I do actually bring quite a lot of knowledge about kind of technology companies and what they're doing and things like that. So I feel like you're kind of getting an academic perspective, but also somebody who has kind of worked in the industry for a little while. And I wanted to say a little bit about the program's founder. She's somebody called Professor Helen Kennedy, and she teaches on the social media and data module that I was just talking about. She's a professor, so she's been doing this for a very, very long time. She's totally brilliant and set this program up, and it's obviously been really successful. And she actually used to, she spent some time at Microsoft as well. She's also spent time at NYU, which is really, really great place, and also at the University of Amsterdam. They have something called the Digital Methods Initiative, so that's where we get a lot of our kind of resources for teaching digital methods. So she brings a lot of expertise to the department. So this is a lot of text and a lot of colours, and it's very complicated, but what I wanted was that you had kind of an overview of the course. I'm going to break this down and talk about it year to year, but this is it basically. So you'll see that in your, it's kind of sectioned, it's kind of split by what your core options are. So like the core modules are things that you have to take. You obviously like have to do a lot of modules at level 1, but then it really decreases as the years progress. So at level 2, which is like your second year, you don't have to take as many core compulsory modules. You get so many more choices. And then same again in your third year, you actually write a dissertation. It's 15,000 words. You write it for like the whole year, and then you get loads of choice. So as you progress in your degree, you get so much choice to kind of develop your own interests, pick the things that you want to do and that you're interested in. Like you might be interested in digital health, you might be interested in race and immigration, and you might be really, really interested in kind of whiteness and power and privilege, evil, things like that. So yeah, you get so much more choice as the years progress. So I'm just going to kind of break this down a little bit more slowly. So year 1, you do 5 core modules. So 1 is called Digital Media and Society, and that just gives you like a broad overview of kind of the current debates in digital media. So things like privacy, what you can do online, surveillance, blogging, things like that. You also do a module called Data Visualization, which is where you kind of, you'll see like graphs and you'll see data visualizations and visual representations of data, and you critique them. And then you have a sociology module, which introduces you to some kind of really core sociological theory. And then obviously we have the digital methods module, which we're actually really unique. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we're currently the only undergraduate program in the UK that teaches students how to research using digital methods tools. And that's really important, because if you want to do a digital media degree, that kind of implies that you're interested in social media and things like that. And we teach you how to kind of research these things, what the ethics of researching them are. So yeah, we're a very unique program in that respect. And then in year 2, you have like fewer core modules. Gets really, really interesting in year 2, I think, because you kind of learn more about digital methods, you learn more about the media, you learn about animation and digital storytelling, and you learn a lot more about social change. We've got some really great people in the department who are studying digital media in kind of international locations and looking at social change and politics. So that's something that we're really good at, and that you learn about in year 2. And then in year 3, the only things you have to do are your dissertation. I'm going to talk more about some potential topics in a little while. And we also do a digital media work placement. So the people in this department have really strong connections to people in industry, so people at like marketing and PR companies, charities, kind of local governments, third sector organisations, things like that. So we're a department who is very good at kind of placing students in the kind of work environment that they want. We tend to have a lot more choice. We actually tend to get a lot more offers of people wanting students than we have students to send there. So that's definitely a strength that we have. And something that you'll have noticed in the third column, it says Steen Route. And this is something that's been really popular with my students this year. So we actually offer 3 themed routes. So if you were to do this course, when you graduate, you would have a BA with honours in digital media and society. But what you can say to an employer is that you took a themed route in either journalism, education, or marketing. So you don't have to take a themed route, but if you know that you really want to get into journalism, or you really want to look at digital media and education policy and kind of children and digital culture, or you want to work, in a marketing company or do something to do with public relations, then you can choose the marketing theme route. It's something that, because the BA is kind of a cross-faculty program, which means we work across kind of different departments within the Faculty of Social Sciences, we're able to teach you about kind of broader things. We're able to introduce you to new subjects in broader areas, so you kind of learn a lot more than it might seem. So the first themed route that we use, this is a journalism themed route, and that runs all the way through. And what's really great about the School of Journalism is the facilities they have. They're like really well known for having really great newsrooms for like radio, TV and print and web. They teach journalism skills. They're actually the #1 university in the UK for journalism. So that's in the league tables from The Guardian and the Times Higher Education. So to say that you take modules from the journalism school is actually quite that's quite a prestigious, it's a really great thing to be able to say, and it means that you'll really learn a lot. We also have an education themed route. So our School of Education is actually the #1 in the UK for research. That was in the last Research Excellence Framework. So they're doing really great cutting edge research about education. And increasingly, one of their real strengths is that they're developing modules that they teach to undergrads about the impact of digital technologies on children's lives. So I know they let me interview, they interviewed me the other day for one of their modules, and they were looking basically at kind of friendship groups. They were looking at teenagers, how they use WhatsApp and how they use Facebook Messenger. And it was really, really interesting. They came and chatted to me about the module they were doing, and it was just really great to see that the research that we do here is really relevant to the things that they're doing. So that's really exciting to me, that I know that my students can go and learn those things. And then we have a marketing theme group. So this is only in years 2 and 3. And they have modules about digital media marketing, which is going to be really helpful if you want to get into, as I said, like marketing, PR, things like that. And they are really impressive as well. They're actually in the top % of all business and management schools worldwide. So again, you're getting some really great expertise there. And just to ask as a question, is anyone kind of interested in these areas like journalism or education or marketing? If you just want to type your comments if you are, I'm really interested to know what people are interested in doing. Ooh, everyone's typing. I'll let people type before I carry on. Really interested in marketing. Yeah, a lot of my current BAs are, I think. Do you know, I think it's over half are going to take marketing as a theme route. And I didn't expect that. I thought there'd be more journalism people, but I'm wrong. It's marketing is where they want to be. Marketing and journalism. Actually, one of my current BAs, she did a gap year last year, and she worked full time at a local marketing company, but it was a startup, and so it wasn't it was just really finding its legs, and then it just grew massively over the past year. And they kept her on, they let her do part time. She does like 12 hours a week, so she's actually, in theory, when she graduates, she's got a job. So that's amazing. Oh, I'm really pleased that a lot of you are interested in marketing and journalism. I think that's something that people from the last kind of round of open days and talking to the students I have now, these theme groups are what really have interested people, because you just get to learn so many different things. I wish I'd had a theme group. Okay, so I'm gonna carry on, say a little bit more. Jenny can field any questions or comments you've got about the themed routes, or we can stop and I can answer any questions. So yeah, as I said, so our department, your home department, is the Department of Sociological Studies. So obviously everyone needs a home, you need a personal tutor, we have really strong administrative and pastoral support. So your kind of home is sociological studies, but you might not think of yourself as doing a sociology degree. And even though you have aspects of sociology in it, you also obviously learn about things from the School of Education and Journalism and the Management School if you choose to take that route. But we also, you will also receive teaching from the Information School and also the Sheffield Methods Institute. So they're really strong departments in kind of digital media, research methods. I know the iSchool looks at librarianship, things like data and open data. So, I've got a question. Where did previous graduates go on their work placement module? Well, because this is a fairly new program, we don't have any third-year students yet. But what I can say is that the woman who founded the program, Helen Kennedy, she used to work with me at Leeds, but she's since moved here. And what she used to do was, she is somebody who her research was with kind of marketing companies, people who do search engine optimization, people who mine social media data. She worked with like charities, third sector organizations, things like that. So because she personally has a lot of these connections, people tended to go to like, so this was obviously like locally in Leeds, they would go to like PR companies, they'd go to marketing companies. I know a few went to an events management kind of company, charities to do their social media type stuff, third sector organisations, small branches of the government, like like the local council, if you like. So yeah, that's where, when she previously ran a work placement module, that's where people went. And obviously by moving here, she's bringing all of those contacts and she's bringing a lot of interest from companies. So, you know, if you had a particular company in mind, we could always approach them. Or if you had a particular kind of style of work that you wanted to do, like you really wanted to go to a marketing company, again, you know, she's somebody who is very well connected. So, you know, hopefully you'd get to go somewhere that you really, really wanted to go. So that's kind of the faculty and the department. But I wanted to say a little bit more about Sheffield. So I was really excited to come to Sheffield from my previous place because, to be honest, because it just is so good for research and it's so good at producing knowledge, that I knew that my colleagues and the people who are going to teach your modules are people who really are at kind of the cutting edge of digital media and who are at kind of the forefront of their field. So the University of Sheffield is actually in the top % of UK universities for research excellence, which is really great. So, you know, you're getting teaching from people who are really good at their research, they're really good at what they do. So, and you know, they kind of share that with you in their teaching. And that was something that really impressed me when I came here. And speaking of teaching, just wanted to say a little bit more about your assessment methods. So we teach you with a combination of kind of coursework and also practical work. There aren't typically many exams. I know that my first year students, they have 2 exams this semester, and then they have, I think, maybe 1 next semester, so very few exams, I would say. One of their exams is in journalism, so again, if you don't take that as your theme group, then that reduces the amount, because I know that it's quite, people have a lot of anxiety about exams. So it does tend to be that we assess you with essays, portfolio work, so you might do something every week and build a portfolio. And then practical work includes building digital media products. So we introduce students to a coding software called R. We only do that for one semester though, it really is very introductory. And then we have a bit of an introduction to animation software and things like that. So we introduce you to some kind of design products, but this isn't really a design-led course. If you're looking for a course where you spend most of your time designing digital media products, I would say that this isn't the course for you because it is that bit more courseworky rather than practical, but we do introduce some practical elements so that you can say when you graduate, I have a basic knowledge of R, I have a basic knowledge of this software, which is really great in the job market. Sometimes we ask students to do presentations, sometimes they're assessed, sometimes they aren't. Sometimes we ask students to do group work, and then obviously you have your final year dissertation, which is usually about 15,000 words, which seems like a lot, but by the time you get to it, I think you'll think it's manageable. So here are some example topics. I'm actually supervising a couple of these, and then some of them are kind of topics from last year. So these are very current ones. So somebody looked at the selfie phenomenon and women's identities, and they kind of argued that selfies are really derided, people think of it as being a very feminized practice, and they looked at how people were experiencing the selfie taking kind of process. Somebody else looked at whether social media can kind of fuel political engagement, whether people who are on social media are more politically active and how they engage. This was very relevant, this next one is very relevant to my research. Somebody looked at how social media companies moderate harmful hashtags. So in 2012, Instagram and Pinterest and Tumblr decided to moderate pro-eating disorder tags, and she kind of looked at how that happens and whether it's good or bad, things like that. Another one was fitness and self-tracking apps. Somebody looked at Fitbit. Don't know how many people have a Fitbit. I don't have a Fitbit. Jenny and I don't have Fitbits, but lots of people do. And they did a bit of an analysis of that. Somebody else looked at Pokemon Go users' mental and physical health. I had Pokemon Go. Jenny didn't. Jenny has nothing. Jenny isn't very digital. I had a Pokemon Go, and they were kind of like, they were, I think, interviewing users about whether they, went outside more and did more exercise, how it made them feel. Somebody else looked at the sexting panic and young people's privacy. And then my dissertation student is currently looking at group chats on WhatsApp and Facebook and kind of the friend group dynamics that go on there. So really interesting ones. Just out of curiosity, even though it's 3 and a bit years away, what are you interested in? If you had to write a dissertation right now, like what do you think it would be on? I'm trying to think what mine would be on. Mine would be on the content moderation stuff, the pro-eating disorder stuff. I'm really interested in that. Or I do the selfies one, I don't know. What would you do?
Quite like what your dissertation students currently do on like friendship dynamics.
The friend group one. It's really, she's finding really interesting things. She did like focus groups. She actually had an all-male group and an all-female group and then a mixed gender group. And it was just completely, the dynamics were completely different according to like the guys and the girls. It was really a really interesting one actually. Probably something to do with social media and gender differences, definitely. I think I'm a gender person. I'm really interested in anything to do with gender. My PhD was actually about fandom of teen drama series. So I looked at, has anyone watched Pretty Little Liars or The Vampire Diaries or Revenge? And I looked at how adults are running like fan groups and things on social media, and how some of them are pretending to be younger because it's kind of a more acceptable identity. So yeah, my whole career has been about social media and gender. And more typing. Yeah, I really, really want to hear what you're interested in. Oh, social media and self-presentation, that would be a good one. There are lots of people looking at, I don't know if you've been studying him, but Goffman's theory of self-presentation. So we get a lot of people looking at kind of the front stage and backstage and who you are on social media. A lot of people tend to look at women and self-presentation, actually. That's a really interesting one. Okay, I'm going to keep going with the slides, but yeah, Jenny will keep an eye on the comment if you have any questions or other comments. But I really want to know what you're interested in, because I feel like everyone brings a little bit of something different to it, which makes it so interesting. So yeah, I wanted to say we had a question from Maya earlier about the work placement. So yeah, just to reiterate what I said, it isn't just Helen who has kind of extensive connections with people at companies. We have a fantastic careers service at the university, and also the staff team within the department are very committed to sending you to kind of places that align with your interests. So if you want to go to a marketing company, we'll do our best to send you to one. They're people with, you know, really great connections, and yeah, so the work placement process is something that we will really support you through. And I usually, like in my experience, people always love their work placements. Like people come back and they're so excited that they've, you know, been and done something different for a semester, because you've been in uni and education for so long. It's really great to go and get a taste of what your career might be like. I think that's so important. Something else you can do. I don't know if anyone's heard of this scheme. It's called Erasmus. Actually, some of my current BAs, I actually think 4 people are going to go abroad, and 2 are looking at doing Erasmus. And we basically, as it stands, you go somewhere else to an EU university. So as it stands, it's Denmark, Germany, or the Netherlands, and you go for a semester. Typically, you'd go in your second year, but what we're looking at doing for the next one, so study abroad, is at the moment, so if you want to go abroad, it kind of replaces your second year, and then Erasmus, you go for 1 semester in your second year. What we're looking at doing for next year or the year after, we aren't quite sure yet, is that you go abroad between your second and your third year. So you're actually kind of at uni for 4 years, and then you go for a year between the second and third years. But as it stands at the moment, you go abroad in your second year, either for 1 semester or for the full year. So by the time you come, it might be a little bit different. You might get a little bit longer at uni, which is always a good thing. So yeah, but you can always email us and ask us any questions about this. But yeah, just to say a little bit about Erasmus, you go to a different university for a semester and you take their courses and their classes, but it's a really great opportunity to go somewhere different, experience a different university, meet new people, experience a different culture. I think Erasmus is a really great scheme. And they also, I think the great thing about Erasmus is that it tends to have its own like community. Like there will be kind of a community of people who have gone from this university to, you know, Denmark or Germany or wherever, and they organise, like, I think they organise like trips and things. Like they organise things for students who do Erasmus. So it's, you don't just kind of go on your own and then you're abandoned in Europe for 3 months. It's very much a community. I think Erasmus is a great scheme. And there's more about Erasmus on the university's website, and you can also just Google it. And study abroad is a big one. So you go for the whole year to, there's a really long list of universities that you can go to. So you can go to ones in Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, India, Korea, New Zealand, Singapore, or the USA. There's a long list of universities in these countries that you can go to. Hi Rihanna, nice to see you. So yeah, as I was saying, you go for the full year to a university in one of these countries, and I just think it's an amazing experience. Everyone who does study abroad loves it, and they're really sad to come back because maybe they've gone somewhere where it's sunny, I don't know, but it tends to be a really popular one. Two of my students, they really want to go to Hong Kong, and another one was looking at going to Queensland, University of Technology. So yeah, just some really, you don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, it's something that you can do. And then thinking, it probably seems like a really long way off in terms of what you're going to do with your degree. But I think it's really important that you, pick a degree that you want to do. It needs to sustain your interest for 3 years. So if you're someone who's interested in learning about social media and digital cultures and digital technologies and sociology, identities, if they're the kinds of things that you're interested in, then I do think that this is, it's the degree for you. But it's also really important that your degree gets you a job. Again, if you're somebody who's interested in digital media, you're probably somebody who is going to, want to work in that sector. Either, as we've said, through the Steen Route, so like journalism or education or marketing, or you might want to, go into a different aspect of digital media. But my point is that, there are a lot of opportunities with your degree if you chose to do the digital media and society degree. So as it stands, we used to tell people this at open days like years and years ago, and I checked this ready for this webinar to check that it was still true, and it is. If you go on the Guardian media job listings and you filter it by digital, there are more jobs in the digital category than there are in all of the other media job listings combined. So the point of that is that there are so many digital media and kind of digital related jobs that if you've got a degree with, A, with the word digital in the title, and B, a degree that is teaching you, essentially how to do that kind of a job and the kinds of things you need to know and the experiences that you need, I think that we are a department that does prepare you for life after your degree very well. So this is a list of kind of some of the kinds of things that either people in the past on similar degrees have gone into, but these are kind of the places where people who tend to do digital media degrees go. So you could go into marketing or communication or public engagement. A really popular job is social media account manager for a company. I know a lot of people who do that job. Those jobs are fairly plentiful at the moment. You could go into information governance and policy, so like a data protection officer, like a local council or a company. And you could also go into user experience design, so there's something called UX. I was having a nosy a few weeks ago at Facebook's UX job. There are actually Facebook offices in London, and they do recruit people to do UX, and they're very interested in people who have kind of qualitative backgrounds, so not just people who do computer science degrees. Tech companies are becoming increasingly interested in people who bring kind of a sociological, social science lens to technology. And those jobs are called UX, and you can search for them. Like if you go on like Google's job website, Facebook, any of the big companies, they all want UX people. My view is that that's going to grow. Or you can do user research at kind of a smaller marketing company or a smaller company that wants to understand how people use social media. Lots and lots of jobs and opportunities for people who do degrees like this. And, I've talked to you a lot about your classes and the courses that you'll do and how we'll grade you, but I think what's really important to say is that we're all human beings and everyone has a life, and sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes, something might happen, you might be unhappy. And I think it's really important to tell you that we are a department who takes care of people who have bad experiences for different reasons when they do their degree. So you will each get a personal tutor. So for the first year, the current first year Digital Media and Society students, I am their personal tutor. You see your personal tutor like once every semester, but you can obviously contact them as and when if needs be. We have a really great student union. What is it currently voted?
I think it's still number 1.
Yeah, number 1 in the UK Students' Union. It's huge. I don't know if anyone's been to an open day yet, but you walk in and you just get lost. Like, even I don't know my way around it yet. And there are so many like really great bars and clubs and just like places to eat and just chill, work. It's a really nice union actually. There are really great student counselling services, so to improve your academic skills, if you're struggling with money and your student debt, welfare, so mental health, things like that. We have a lot of provision for counselling services and assistance where you need it. We also have an accommodation office. They help you with your student housing, and there is support for in your future years when maybe you rent a flat with your friends. So there's lots of help for accommodation, things like that. The careers office, as we've talked about, they can help you with things like your placement and also think about if you want to get a part-time job while you're here, and then your career after you leave. We have student health services. We have a walk-in clinic nearby. Lots of health provision if you need it that you can sign up to. We have a lot of support for disabled students if that's a provision that you need. And we have, as I was saying earlier, help with student finance and things like that. So as much as we will teach you really interesting and fun things, we also make sure that you're looked after. And I think this is a really great university for those kinds of things. And one of the things I will mention, so I worked at a university prior to this, and they didn't have this, but this department does, and it's somebody called Fran, who is basically in charge of, is it fair to say, pastoral care of students and students' experiences. So there is literally a person in this department whose job it is to make sure you're okay. I think that's quite rare for universities, and I think it's really important because, as we were saying earlier, life happens, things happen. I hope they don't. I hope you have the most happy swimming 3 years ever, but if you need help, there is somebody here who can do that for you. So that's everything I wanted to say, and I think we should definitely open the floor to questions. So does anyone have any questions for me or for Jenny that you want to ask now, or just anything? No questions yet. I'll also write my email address, so anyone who's watching this, if they think of a question later, or they have anything that they want to share with me, then you can just email me directly. So that's my email address if anyone needs it. And we've got a couple of people typing. Yeah, and as I say, when you start, if you apply and if you come, I'll be your program leader. So I'm basically in charge of the program and looking after all of you. So that's my job. That's who I am if you come here, as well as teaching. So I would teach you in your first year. What's the Intro to Digital Methods module about? Yeah, so I'm designing, I'm kind of looking at the content again at the moment because we're going to deliver it in semester 2. Basically, what we do is we start to teach you about the ways in which you can research social media data. So you might want to analyse comments that people write on Facebook or Twitter, or you might want to analyse Instagram pictures and comments. and we basically introduce you to tools to research social media, but we also encourage students to think about the ethics of this. So do you directly quote? Should we directly quote from social media because it might make someone identifiable? Should you kind of blur out their username when you write about their profile? And things like that. So it's very much about how we can use social media to conduct research with, and what kinds of data we can gather. So there are tools to get something called metadata, which is like the location someone was when they posted an image, the device they were using, kind of things like that. And what's really important kind of jobs wise is that companies are increasingly looking to these tools. So like, I don't know, a clothing company might want to understand what people are saying about it on social media. They might want to understand trends. So we teach you how to use the tools that people and companies are using to kind of understand what's happening on social media. So it's a skill that would prepare you for a digital media job. And another one. For the core module data visualization in the first year, does this include a large amount of math-based work? No, I can't do maths, I'm terrible. So there are a couple of assessments for that one. One assessment, it's worth very little of the grade. I think it's worth about 10%. And you basically do a little bit of coding on something called R, but it's worth a very small amount of the module. And then your bigger assignments are your kind of critique and interpretation of data visualizations. So you might see them in the newspapers, like if you read like The Guardian or you have Twitter or something. And you're basically critiquing visualizations of data, critiquing like graphs and things like that. So you don't have to know any maths, and you don't really have to know a great deal of R either. It's like worth a very small amount of the module. But most of the module is about like analysing the visualizations. You're welcome. I can't do maths, so I wouldn't give a module to a student, but we had to do maths. I couldn't grade it, I wouldn't know what I was doing. I've got a couple more people typing. Yeah, so let's have a look. If I have the modules introduced to math and practice. Yeah, so basically, I should have said a little bit more about this. So what you can do let's just go back to this slide, because I'll explain the unrestricted module. I'm really glad you've said that because it's really important. So in your second and first years, you get something called an unrestricted choice. So basically, different departments in the university, like really, really diverse ones like Japanese studies, art, English, they put modules into this kind of pot of unrestricted choices, and you can just dabble in something that you wouldn't normally have learned. So one of my students is learning Mandarin at the moment for their first year, and so if you take it as an unrestricted choice in the first year, generally speaking, you can carry it on in the second year. So you're kind of building on that knowledge. It depends what module it is, but a lot of the time you can continue with that unrestricted module for both years, so that you get a really kind of in-depth look. So if we go back to this, you get unrestricted choices in semesters 1 and 2 of your first year and semester 1 of your second year. So 3 of your modules can basically be about like most things that you want it to be. There's a lot of freedom there. I really like that. And in terms of continuing with similar digital methods modules, in year 1, you get an introduction to digital methods. I teach that. And I also teach the practice module that goes with it. So like that's where you learn more about the tools. You actually kind of get more of an insight into how they work. And that carries on into year 2. So it's called Advancing with Digital Methods, which is where, because you've learned about kind of some basic tools and you've learned about like the ethics of using these tools, you know, thought about issues around privacy and things and ethics and things like that. The module that we offer in semester 2 is a much more kind of in-depth look at particular tools. So yeah, you do carry on with that. And then in your 3rd year, what you could do is you could decide to use a digital methods tool to look at a certain issue in your dissertation. You know, you might want to look at hashtags that people use. So I do a lot of co-hashtag analysis where I look at what hashtags people use and what hashtags they most commonly use alongside them. So yeah, things like that, and you can carry that on into your 2nd year and then, you know, use a certain tool as a part of your dissertation. Or you don't have to do that for your dissertation if you don't want to. But if it's something you're interested in, there's a lot of scope to carry it on. You're welcome. Does anyone have any more questions? Grace is typing. Oh, and Maya's typing as well. Good. Oh, I'm so glad it was helpful. If you have any questions about anything, you can email me or Jenny. Jenny will put her email in there as well. And if you can come to an open day, if you can sign up to one, like, you know, if you're coming from, like Maya, you're from Egypt, like, you know, if you can't get here for one, and we can always send you like the PowerPoint slides, you can Skype us, like anything, because I just think when you go to a uni, it has to be the right one. Like you know, it's really important that you make the right choice, and so we're happy to like chat to you, email you, Skype you, you know, come to an open day if you can. But yeah, we just want to make sure that, you know, you're happy with your decision, and any questions that you have, we can answer them. Oh, great, thank you. You're welcome, Grace. I really hope you apply, and hopefully I will see you, hopefully I'll see you at an open day. Do we have any in February? Jenny's just going to check. We do have some coming up actually. I have a list here. So these are the post-offer open days. Yeah, so if you apply and you get an offer, you can come to an open day on the 17th of February, the 17th of March, and the 21st of April. So I'm going to be at all of the open days. I think Helen is going to be at some. You know, the woman who founded the program. Yeah, there are usually loads of people here on open days. Like, it's always a really nice environment. And actually, we share the open days with people who do like sociology and criminology, sociology and social work. Like, it's always a really busy day because there are just, I mean, like, how many sociology students are there? Is it like, how many this year? Was it like 100 or something? Yeah, like 100 sociology students started this year, so it's just such a full, it's just always a fun day. It's a full department. And we have, I should say as well, we have something called SOC, which is the Sociology Society, and they organise so many fun events. Like, I think they went, did they go to Prague this year? Yeah. I think they've been to Prague, somewhere else, and they do a trip every year. They do like bar crawls and nights out, and they do like quieter nights. I feel like there are lots of undergrads who are into sports. Don't know if anyone plays like netball or hockey or goes running. But it's there are a lot of like sporting activities. The football field is actually right, I'm looking at it now, right in front of my office. It's very distracting when I'm trying to work. But yeah, like whatever your interests are, there tends to be a lot of things to do. Oh, amazing, thanks Jenny. Yeah, so this is when our open days are. And a typo. So does anyone have any more questions for me? feel like we're all good for questions.